Dementia Researcher with a blog and a rating.
Preregistration. Say it, do it, share it. Preregistration is a simple and yet totally logical concept. It has the potential to ensure more and better research is published. It is also a relatively new concept from what I can tell as an ECR. Now, back in the early noughties when I was finishing my undergraduate degree, and then even in the late noughties when I did my master's, I hadn't heard about this concept at all. All the research I read about was stuff that had been done. Even when I did my research projects, I don't really remember having to write the plan up properly in advance. I just had to have some kind of hypotheses, plan my outcome measures and the intervention before I delivered it. It wasn't until I started my PhD that I really came across the concept of having to write a proper protocol. It made a lot of sense, of course. I needed to apply for ethical approval, so of course I'd need to explain everything I was planning to do in rigorous detail. Just because what I do is often considered a relatively risk-free therapy doesn't mean there aren't A, any risks, and B, that it doesn't need to be rigorous. In fact, the interventions I develop often result in hefty emotional discussions, and the work probably benefits from being more rigorous than other research in order to really try and pin down the active ingredients in a complex intervention. The first time I came across preregistration was actually during a systematic review I did. This happened in two ways. First of all, I decided to register my own review on Prospero, a review database. Prospero allows for peer review and feedback, which is helpful, but I also wanted to let other people know what I was doing. Secondly, I decided to search other trials registries as part of my search strategy to identify any current or forthcoming work that I might have needed to include in my review. Not only do these databases allow researchers to make public the work they are currently undertaking, so others are aware and can build on it rather than doing the exact same piece of work, but these platforms also allow for open science methods. This means researchers must state in anticipation what they plan to do rather than kind of changing their minds halfway through to make things look better. In fact, this also means that it's not just groundbreakingly positive outcomes that get published ultimately, but also research where the results weren't quite as exciting that will then be published just because they're being properly pre-registered. So let me summarise this for you. There are lots of ways to tell people you're going to be doing a research study or currently undertaking a study. Registries. These are online registries that have been set up that host brief or fuller protocols for current or planned work. They are often specific to a study type, such as a trials registry, a literature review registry, such as Prospero, or a core outcome set registry. Open science forums. These are platforms that allow you to put a new protocol or plan for a forthcoming study into the public domain by publishing it on an open science forum. Protocol publication. Now, more and more journals are inviting researchers to publish a full protocol in a peer-reviewed journal article. This means you get proper peer reviewer feedback and can cite a publication whenever you talk or write about or even mention your study that is currently underway. Some journals are now inviting authors to submit something called registered reports as an article. This means they review your, plans for your study, similarly as I described in the process above relating to protocols. However, once accepted for a journal, the journal thereby commits to publishing the results and the discussion at some point in the future. This model seems like a no-brainer to me. Although there is a lot of work up front, it basically means journals and reviewers cannot pick and choose whether they publish papers on the basis of glamorous or successful results, so to speak. Even the results that don't show much are actually answering really valid questions and must be in the public domain. So let's summarise the bonuses of pre-registration now. Pre-registration is transparent. You can receive peer feedback at a point when it's most useful, or communicate to others what you're doing at a point when you're keen for others to know something is in the pipeline. You can also guarantee your findings will be disseminated. This feels like a win-win-win. And even though I hear cries of, that's probably a lot of work in advance, I would say it is most definitely worth it.
Thank you for listening. Join the Dementia Research bloggers and share your own views.